You're probably looking for the best embroidery machine for hats or how to hoop hats for embroidery, but honestly, there is more to it. I'm going to share some of my secrets on how to get hats that belong in a high-end boutique shop. Hello, happy hat day. You guessed it, we're going to be talking all about hats. So I'm always being asked how do your hats come out so perfect? What embroidery machine do you use? How do you hoop your hats? Who do you have digitize your hats? Are you free on Saturday night? Okay, I'm kidding about the last part. I'm going to share with you all of my tips and tricks and secrets. A lot of times people will say you need to digitize your files specifically for hats. The number one question that people ask me is, are you getting those files digitized for hats, like by a digitizer? And no, that's my answer. No, I don't. And guess what though? I'm going to share with you guys what I do so that I don't have to spend or pay like $25 to get my hats individually digitized. Now, if it was an image, like let's say that I wanted to do this on a hat, I don't really have a way to stitch from center out, because yes, you do need to have it stitched from the center out. And so then I would have something like that digitized. But things like this, you guys, I did not have digitized. I used a font. I'm going to share with you guys also the font that I used. I'll share with you where I got these hats. Before I share all of that information with you, I do need to show you this graveyard of hats. This is where the hats go to die, like just issues, wrong thread colors, the bobbin is showing through. I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot, so don't worry. If you have ever wanted to throw your machine out the window because of a hat, just type me, because I'm also going to share with you, this is kind of like a bad word with everyone in the machine embroidery community. And I'm just going to say it. It starts with an R. Richardson's. Yes, I am going to share with you my tips on how to embroider Richardson hats without wanting to pull your hair out. Now we're going to create the file using the Embrilliance software. This is what the software looks like, and I'm going to click on the file folder icon and select my hat hoop size. And now I press on the A to get my text box, and I come over here on the right hand side and I'm going to type in what I want it to say. I'm using the font called Monogram from Designs by Juju. I'm also going to change the order of the stitch out to the center, left, right, which is the CLR. And now when I press the needle icon, I can drag this and it's going to show me how it's going to stitch out. Now I want this to say Hair by Chrissy. So I've done the first line, moved it up, and then I'll hit Control C and drag this down and type Cassidy. Or you could also select another text box. I just like to duplicate things. I think it's faster. Now you can see that it is poking out of the rectangle. So I'm just going to squeeze it in, and you're going to see in the left corner the percentage is changing. So when I adjust the next line, I want to keep the same percentage so that the letters are consistently the same size. So that's only changing by like 5%. So I've got it at 95%. I'm also lining up the black squares to the middle of the hoop. Now look at the right hand side of the screen. I want to stitch the bottom word first. So I'll right click, then select Move First. And now I click this needle icon and it shows me exactly how it will stitch out. And it's just how I want it. Now, just to make it even more perfect, I've zoomed in and I'm just going to do a little bit of dragging. You can drag each individual letter just to make sure that it all looks very nice and evenly spaced. Then I like to change the color to the thread color, so I'm just going to change this to black. And it doesn't get me confused when I go to the machine and I just know that I need to stitch this using black thread. And now I think it's ready for the machine. So I'm just going to save it to my USB and then get going. If you are enjoying this video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and keep watching. Thank you. Not all fonts are created equal. This again, as I've mentioned, it's the monogram font from Designs by Juju. All of her fonts are so beautiful. You really can't just pick any font off of Etsy and expect the same results. I also want to mention that any new font that you get, you're always going to want to test stitch a sample before you try it out on a hat, because every font is created differently, but the fonts on Designs by Juju, I fully trust and recommend. If you want a list of my favorite fonts, just type in the comment section font and I will send you a list of my favorite fonts. A lot of you may not know that I have an embroidery list you can sign up for. Just go to shopsimplydelilah.com and you get to this screen right here, the embroidery supply list. Just scroll down and you can put in your email information and I will email you the entire list of supplies that I use every day. So what are the best hats to embroider? If the actual hat you start with is a cheap, bad hat, you're not going to like the results. This hat is pretty expensive, but it embroiders really, really well. These are the popular camo hats, and I won't tell you the price, but I do get them from fair.com. And they are kind of expensive. You can go and check it out, but the results are beautiful. And the easiest hat for me to hoop is probably the auto hats. They're really easy to hoop and I get a lot of good results from them, and they have the structure that you need so the stitches don't come out all wonky. And I purchase my auto hats from capbargain.com. Then I get all my Richardson hats, Flex Fit hats, dad hats, YP Classic hats, foam hats, dad hats. All of those are from S&S Activewear. And this is the perfect segment into talking about the Richardson hats. I'll just start with the tips and tricks. Before I hoop the hat, I like to spray it with water just to loosen up the brim. And then I just rub it down, kind of rub the water into it. Some people use a steamer. I used to use a steamer, but this is just so much more convenient. And I always use a stabilizer. It just feels like the right thing to do. And this is the top piece of my Brother flat brim hoop frame. And there's a center mark here that I need to line up with the center seam. If you need more details on how to hoop the hat, I have a video that is dedicated exclusively to the Brother flat brim hoop frame, and you can click on that link as well. One thing that I keep forgetting to mention in all of my videos is that I am a Sewing Machine Plus affiliate. So if you are interested in the machine or even in the cap frame, you can use my link in the descriptions tab and I will get a percentage, like a commission, off of anything that you purchase, or even if you give them a call. And if you mention my name, it is super helpful for me and it's super helpful for them, because then they know that my channel is actually making a difference. Before we get the Richardson hat loaded on here, I want to go over a few things. And number one is the needle plate. And there's always a question, should I use the needle plate or should I not? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I like to start with having it off. Again, these are just, sometimes if you have problems with Richardson hats. Whenever I do all hats, I always clean out this part. This is key. A lot of times I'll have people message me about the tension and they think that there's a problem with the tension because the bobbin will start showing through. But there's this area, I'm gonna put a close up right here, and there's a slot right here, and you just take a piece of paper and you put that in there and you push up, and then I like to blow on it, and you're pushing out any lint that might accumulate in there. So make sure that you do that. Make sure that your machine is oiled because you don't want to have any headaches. You want to prevent anything bad from happening. So now that we cleaned out that bobbin case, and I'm going to leave the needle plate off, and I'm going to load on my Richardson hat that I have sprayed and line it up. Let me pull this a little bit closer for you. I'm just lining up the laser And then I like to shift it slightly this way to put my clips in, making sure also that the brim hits the seam of the hat. So people are always like, how do you get the design so close to the brim? And I don't do anything differently. It just ends up, you know, like right there. Now what I'm going to do is just assign the thread colors, which is going to be all white, and then we've got some green. So let's do that. I didn't do anything differently with the needles. Now you can see how it kind of bounces a little bit on Richardson hats. I am going to cut that thread. So this is tiny stitches. And I'm curious because this is a test stitch. What I do in the beginning is I just hold it down like this. Just kind of guiding it a little bit. You don't always have to do this, but since I'm on camera and it's a demo and I really want this to turn out pretty, I'm just gonna kind of hold it like this. Because the letters are tiny. But it is looking really good. Okay, it did that first line, and now I think we are safe to just let it do its thing. I use my Kai scissors to clip any tiny little threads and my lint roller, and then I do a little spray as well because sometimes the needle will do little markings. And look at that. I am so happy with that. Okay, so that wasn't bad at all. I hope that you guys learned a little bit from this video. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave them in the comments below. One of us probably knows the answer. And then also, if you need to learn how to use your Brother Flat Brim hoop frame, make sure that you click on this video right here. It shows you how to hoop the hats using that specific frame. So I do hope to see you in my next video. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye guys.